How does a company lose nearly $1 billion every 3 months and still become the most valuable automaker in the history of the world? For decades, Detroit told us that electric cars were nothing more than glorified golf carts, destined to die in the suburban driveway. They said the technology was too expensive, the range was too short, and the consumer simply didn't care. But while the giants of the Midwest slept, a tiny startup in Silicon Valley was preparing to set the entire industry on fire. This isn't just a story about lithium-ion batteries or 0 to 60 times. It is a story of pure, unadulterated defiance. Tesla didn't just build a car. They built a weapon designed to dismantle a century-old monopoly. Today, we look at the high-stakes rebellion that forced big kings of oil and steel to bow down to the power of the electron. From the brink of bankruptcy to the top of the S&P 500, this is the war for the future of the road. Prepare yourself, because the revolution wasn't just televised, it was electrified. In the year 2003, the idea of an electric car company was seen as a guaranteed way to set money on fire. The legacy of the EV1, General Motors' failed electric experiment, loomed like a ghost over the industry. But Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning didn't come from the world of pistons and crankshafts. They came from the world of software. They realized that the key to the future wasn't a better engine, it was a better battery. When a young, ambitious South African millionaire named Elon Musk joined the fray with a $6.5 million investment, the chemistry was complete. They weren't trying to build a sensible sedan for the masses, at least not yet. They wanted to build a supercar. They took the chassis of a Lotus Elise and stuffed it with thousands of laptop batteries, creating a high-voltage monster called the Roadster. It was an audacious gamble. If they could prove that electric cars were sexy, the world would never look at a hybrid the same way again. The road ahead was long, and the giants in Detroit were starting to laugh.
Building a car is hard, but building a car company is nearly impossible. By the year 2007, the Roadster was delayed, and the costs were spiraling out of control. Tesla was burning through cash faster than a rocket engine. The engineering challenges were immense. How do you keep thousands of tiny cells from overheating and turning the car into a fireball? Tensions peaked, leading to a leadership shakeup that saw Elon Musk take the reins as CEO. It was a do-or-die moment. Musk poured his entire personal fortune into the company, living on borrowed money just to keep the lights on. The traditional auto industry watched with amusement, waiting for the inevitable bankruptcy filing. But then, the impossible happened. The Roadster finally hit the streets. It was fast, it was beautiful, and it proved that an electric car could outpace a Porsche. Tesla had survived its first brush with death, but the real battle, the battle for the masses, was only just beginning.
As the 2008 financial crisis crushed the global economy, Detroit's titans were literally begging for their lives. General Motors and Chrysler were on the verge of total collapse, rescued only by massive government bailouts. You would think this would be the end of the internal combustion engine, but Detroit was stubborn. They viewed Tesla as a fluke, a toy for the 1% in California. While the big three focused on survival and traditional trucks, Tesla was dreaming of the Model S. This wasn't just another car, it was a computer on wheels. Tesla reimagined the entire user experience, from over-the-air software updates to a massive touchscreen that controlled everything. By the time Detroit realized that the world was shifting, Tesla had already secured a $465 million loan from the Department of Energy. The underdog wasn't just surviving, it was being fueled by the very system Detroit thought it owned. The stage was set for a head-on collision between the old world and the new. In June of 2012, the first Model S sedans were delivered, and the automotive world was stunned into silence. This wasn't just a good electric car, it was quite possibly the best car ever made. Motor Trend named it the Car of the Year in a unanimous vote. It was silent, it was incredibly safe, and it had a range that actually made road trips possible. But Tesla's real genius wasn't just the car, it was the infrastructure. While Detroit relied on third-party gas stations, Tesla began building its own global network of superchargers. It was a vertical integration strategy that mirrored Apple's ecosystem. Tesla was no longer just a car manufacturer. They were an energy company, a software company, and a lifestyle brand. The stock price began to climb, and suddenly, the laughter in Detroit turned into a nervous sweat. Executives who had mocked electric vehicles were now scrambling to find their own battery suppliers. The rebellion had officially moved from the fringe to the mainstream. Success brought a new kind of nightmare: production hell. In 2017, Tesla aimed to bring electric cars to the masses with the Model 3. The demand was unprecedented, with hundreds of thousands of people putting down deposits before the car was even finished. But building 5,000 cars a week is a world away from building a few thousand a year. The Fremont factory became a scene of chaos. Musk famously slept on the factory floor, personally overseeing the assembly lines as the company came within weeks of total collapse once again. The critics were out in force, predicting that the Tesla bubble was finally about to burst. Short sellers bet billions against the company. But through sheer willpower and creative engineering, including building a massive tent to house an extra assembly line, Tesla hit its targets. The Model 3 became the best-selling electric car in history. The wall that Detroit had built around the mass market had finally been breached. By the year 2020, something truly surreal happened in the financial markets. Tesla's market capitalization surpassed that of Toyota, Volkswagen, and every single one of the big three automakers combined. Wall Street had decided that the future of transportation was not in the hands of the companies that invented the car, but in the company that had reinvented it. Tesla's valuation reached over $1 trillion. This financial dominance gave Tesla an infinite war chest to build more factories, or gigafactories, in Nevada, China, Germany, and Texas. Detroit was finally forced to wave the white flag. General Motors announced it would go all-electric by 2035. Ford invested billions into the lightning-fast F-150 Lightning. The rebellion had won, not by destroying the competition, but by forcing them to change or disappear. The electric era wasn't coming. It had arrived, and Tesla was the one holding the crown. The story of Tesla versus Detroit is more than just a business rivalry. It is a testament to the power of radical thinking. For an entire century, the world was locked into a single way of moving. It took a group of outsiders who refused to play by the rules to break that cycle. The business lesson here is clear. Innovation is not just about making a better product. It is about changing the entire conversation. Tesla didn't ask permission to exist. They created a reality where their existence was inevitable. Today, every time you see an electric car on the road, regardless of the badge on the hood, you are seeing the ripples of that original rebellion. The giants of Detroit are still here, but they are playing a game that Tesla designed. As we look toward a future of autonomy and renewable energy, one truth remains. The greatest risk is not in trying something new, but in standing still while the world moves on. The spark has been lit, and there is no going back. I hope this deep dive gave you a new perspective on the strategies and the relentless mindset behind these global icons. If you enjoy deconstructing business empires and tech legends in this Tech Archive style, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. That way, you will never miss a new blueprint of history. For those of you ready to explore more boardroom coups and technological breakthroughs, I have handpicked 2 videos for you right here on the screen. Click one to keep watching. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.